Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to a breaking news episode that Liverpool have made contact with Florian Wirtz's camp to potentially sign him. Of course, we are going to discuss David Ornstein's report. Of course, we're going to have a deep dive into all of the information that has been already spoken about a bit earlier on. Of course, that again, I think it obviously is huge news. The fact that Liverpool are in this conversation to begin with, and of course, we'll get your guys' thoughts and we'll get everyone else's thoughts down in the comment section down below as well. But again, let me know all of you are in the comments down below. Of course, if you are new around here, please do hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and all of that good stuff. And of course, we might be live as well a bit later on tonight, 9 p.m. with all of the Liverpool news. But of course, I wanted to mainly talk on this episode, of course, about Florian Wirtz. And look, a very exciting one. Let's be perfectly honest as well. Anyway, but we'll dive straight into the article piece from David Ornstein. As it does say right here, saying Liverpool contact Florian Wirtz's representatives to express an interest in Bayer Leverkusen attacker. Of course, this is from David Ornstein himself. As it does go on to say that Liverpool have made contact with the representatives of Florian Wirtz to express an interest in signing him if he leaves Bayer Leverkusen and is keen on moving to England. The 22-year-old attacker is among sought-after talents in world football, with Bayern Munich and Manchester City also interested. Liverpool's admiration is long-standing, but it's unclear whether Wirtz intends to depart the team or country he is playing in at present. Should this emerge as a genuine possibility, the Premier League champions would be ready to explore a deal, and that is why they are one of the clubs in touch with the camp about the situation. Of course, that's very interesting. As well as it has gone to say why Florian Wirtz is the world's best players finding space between the lines. Not since the rise of Mesut Ozil has the European football witnessed a number 10 so intelligent and selfless with his movement at Leverkusen. Of course, Wirtz was a key player in Leverkusen's title run last season, scoring 11 goals and adding 12 assists. Xabi Alonso's side won first Bundesliga crown in their history. He has become one of Europe's football's most coveted players after that Sterling's 23-24 campaign when he won the Bundesliga Player of the Season. Leverkusen went undefeated domestically and reached the Europa League final, losing, of course, to Atalanta. It does go on to say that Wirtz has continued to impress in the 24-25 season, scoring 10 goals and providing 12 assists in the Bundesliga this season. The playmaker is contracted, though, until 2027 with Leverkusen, whose CEO said in April the player had a very high chance of staying at the club, of course, which, again, it's not really great news for Liverpool. Really, but it has also gone to say that Wirtz has played 29 times for Germany, who was part of Julian Nagelsmann's squad at Euro 2024. Arne Slot's Liverpool were confirmed as Premier League champions last month in the new, obviously, the head coach's first season in charge, joining last summer, of course. So an interesting bunch, really. I think when you do look at it and go into it, as it says, but they. Of course, from David Ornstein, as it says there, of course, obviously Liverpool have made contact, which is great news, really. But it does go on to say that, again, only if he wants to leave Germany, of course. Obviously, there is, of course, plenty of rumours going around at the moment, obviously with Liverpool, with City, with Bayern Munich as well, and, of course, Bayer Leverkusen. And as it says in that article piece there from Bayer Leverkusen CEO, he did turn around and say that it looks like, there's a high possibility that he does end up staying there as well, of course, and again, there's been other journalists and other reports that we will take a look at briefly as well. But I think from David Ornstein's side of things, for me, reading into it, is once again, if there is an opportunity to sign a player of the quality of Florian Wirtz, then Liverpool are going to be on the doorstep and hopefully going to bring him in, because I think, of course, you look at Florian Wirtz, he's 22 years old. We're going to miss, the creativity of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool have to find another way now to add that creativeness in Liverpool's team. And of course, if you go and sign Florian Wirtz, you are signing one of the best young talents that are not only in the Bundesliga, but in world football, and that's for me the big thing, is the fact that Liverpool, have to not necessarily we have to go on and sign Florian Wirtz, but again, to get at that top level and make a marquee signing and go again for next season, like has been spoken very highly in terms of Liverpool, obviously looking at where they can improve and obviously add quality in there. Of course, Florian Wirtz comes straight into Liverpool's team. Whether or not you play a double 10, like we have done at times this season with him and Dominic Szoboszlai, or even taking over that 10 position, or even playing on the left hand side again. Florian Wirtz has a number of positions that you can play at and flourish under. But I look at it and go, it would be an absolute unbelievable signing if Liverpool could get it done. Of course, and look, that is the main talking point of it, is it, can Liverpool get this done? And look, there are plenty of stuff going around at the moment, suggesting other things as well, and that we will talk about a bit later on. But one thing I want to, of course, talk and discuss, not only just what David Ornstein has said, obviously looking at it at a wide audience as well, and looking at in particular what Paul Joyce also has had to come out and say about the situation as well. If I quickly take this and show you on the screen, anyway, of course, it does go on to say from obviously Paul Joyce, obviously it is taken via Anfield sector as well, as it says by here. If I make that a bit bigger for you guys, there we go. So it does go on to say that Liverpool admire Wirtz and have been in touch with his camp as they consider options to bolster their creativity. Their interest comes with an expectation that they think he'll remain in Germany. Should that change, they would pitch for the player as well. So again, from Paul Joyce, it looks like he's going to stay in Germany. Now, what we kind of understand and what kind of has been reported from, again, reports in Germany, reports as well, and now in the UK as well, is that Bayern Munich are the favourites to sign Florian Wirtz. And look, if an opportunity does arise where, Bayern Munich don't get the money involved, or, again, another thing happens, again, Liverpool will be the club that are going to go right in for him. And I look at it this way, right? For me, I think Liverpool, as reportedly Bayern Munich have to sell first before they can even bid for Florian Wirtz. But also as well, reportedly Leverkusen want to sell outside the Bundesliga. They don't want to sell directly to Bayern Munich because they are, once again, strengthening a rival in that sense. And in my opinion, I think Liverpool, if there is an opportunity for Florian Wirtz, they will absolutely jump the gun. But I think as things stand right now, I do think he will end up staying in the Bundesliga. I think he will join Bayern Munich. Of course, it's very rare that Bayern Munich don't end up getting a player like Florian Wirtz. You look throughout the history of the Bundesliga, and especially, in recent history, of course, where Bayern Munich have ended up signing, the top talents in the Bundesliga. I think that, in my opinion, is going to be the same, really. I do think it's going to be an interesting one, though, because the thing I would also add to that is if Bayern Munich can't get the money, if they can't sell the players that they think are sellable, really, again, I think Liverpool will be on the door. But again, it's that expectation of, are they going to be anywhere near the door of a Bayer Leverkusen with 120 plus million pound bid? Again, that's another question for another day, really. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Very intrigued to know all of your guys' thoughts. Of course, there's more news to talk about, of course, with Florian Wirtz as well. And of course, we'll go through that in a moment as well. But I feel a bit, well, first of all, big up Cal, hopefully doing well. But I feel if we don't get him, somehow we get Xavi Simons. I think that is, a realistic one. There's rumours as well about Ryan Shirky as well going around at the moment. Of course, I think it definitely is, like, Liverpool will definitely sign a 10, I think, this summer. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. I think whether or not we go and get an elite 10, or whether or not, we get somebody that can progress up, that's a completely other question, of course. But if he stays in the Bundesliga, he's got no ambition. Prem's way harder and stronger as well, I would agree. If Wirtz does not go to Bayern, he's coming to us. Yes, I would agree with that. Absolutely, 100%. as well. And of course, all this has come from the rumours as well that of course yesterday the whole day was of course Manchester City and Florian Wirtz. I think everybody last night was speaking about it. Of course, David Ornstein coming out and reporting that Manchester City were in contact with AC Milan about Reinders, and I think everyone was like, "Oh, Man City are going to be back." Rodri, him coming back obviously from his knee injury, him coming back, Reinders as well, and Florian Wirtz. Thinking of that midfield, you go, oh, that's a really, really good midfield that once again challenges, I would say, towards the Premier League. And then there were early rumours this morning, wasn't it? That the reports like yesterday was wrong. Supposedly, of course, Florian Wirtz and his family had flown to the UK to, of course, speak to Manchester City, but there had been reports suggesting that wasn't the case. The reports all throughout today suggesting that he had gone and spoken to Liverpool and not Manchester City. Now, I don't think there has been any clarification on this, though, to be fair, with me saying this. But again, we now know Liverpool are definitely in the conversation. My personal opinion is I think his family come to meet Manchester City and Liverpool. I don't know whether or not if it's been confirmed, whether or not he didn't see Manchester City. But I do think, especially with Manchester City in the fold, of course, the money side of things, of course, Liverpool bid, let's say, 120 for him. Man City could come in even higher. Of course they could, as well. So again, I'm not saying Florian Wirtz is done. Of course, it's not done. It's nowhere near done. But if there are slip-ups from Bayern Munich, I do think Liverpool will be in the conversation for sure. But look, we'll talk more, of course, about it. But it could be a smokescreen for someone else. I don't think so. Really, I think Florian Wirtz is the top, really, Doug, I would say. Again, I know obviously people are like, oh, Xavi Simons, and yeah, Xavi Simons, of course, is an option for Liverpool. Liverpool have definitely looked at that as well. But of course, if you go to me right now and go, right, you've got on one hand, you've got Florian Wirtz, or the other hand, you've got Xavi Simons. It's Florian Wirtz all day long, for me anyway. But big up John was saying, hi Con, thoughts on Canate contract? Do you think we will sign if he doesn't sign a new contract? He'll be sold, John, anyway. But rumor has it that it was not even the plan to visit City. Yeah, and then that's the rumor that was going around yesterday, was the fact that him and his family had flown over here to meet Manchester City. But again, that's now been quashed, and there's nothing in that now, supposedly anyway. But I've not seen anyone confirm or deny it anyway. But again, speaking of updates anyway, and of course this has just come in anyway, as it does go on to say Florian Wirtz. It is from Patrick Berg, as it says here, saying that Florian Wirtz update: Liverpool are in the race for Florian Wirtz too. Sources say that Wirtz's family's secret trip to England on Tuesday was related to Liverpool as well, not just Manchester City. No official confirmation, but there's definite interest from Liverpool. The Reds are exploring the situation as a possible deal, even though Wirtz's position is not a top priority this summer. However, the expectation at Liverpool is that Wirtz is likely to stay at Germany. Bayern are still pushing and remain confident. Leverkusen are fighting to keep him. No official offer yet. So, again, I think looking at it, if there is an opportunity for Liverpool to, of course, come in with a potential, like I said, in terms of a potential bid, obviously from Bayern Munich, again, I think that's the plan. Really, with Florian Wirtz, and really, I think it has annoyed a couple of people though as well with this, because obviously David Ornstein's report on it. I think everybody, when it's like, oh, Liverpool made contact to sign Florian Wirtz, it's like, oh, okay, this is serious. But then when you read more into the things that have come out, you kind of like, yeah, like it's a bit frustrating why Liverpool's name is a part of it, really. Because even the likes of, even Lewis Steele, as well, as it says by here, Liverpool, like Bayer Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz, but the expectation is that he will stay in Germany with Bayern Munich or Bayer Leverkusen. Should that change, they are primed to pursue him more on Mail Sport as well. And that's the frustrating part of me, where I look at it and go, for me, I want Liverpool to be, again, would have loved it if Liverpool had been the number one name towards that. And I think that's the frustrating part. And I think this is what has annoyed a lot of people, including myself in this, in terms of, again, Liverpool's name being brought into it when, okay, Liverpool admire him. Liverpool admire a lot of players, really. But you even look at it now, obviously in the last, hour or two, we've been linked with Florian Wirtz by, tier one journalists, and then, again, Liverpool's name being in the conversation, but in that same conversation, you look at the defense side of things, and you look at people like Dean Huijsen, for example. Dean Huijsen's going to Real Madrid, and this is why I said we're going to do a show later on talking about it, because Liverpool are not getting Dean Huijsen this summer. He is going to go to Real Madrid. And this is the type of move. This is the type of move that Liverpool should be doing. As Premier League champions, they should be doing moves like this. And in my opinion, look, is it something we desperately need? No, it's not. What Liverpool need is a proper number 9. But if we're talking about quality and talking about class, again, Florian Wirtz's name is in that bracket of, again, every team in Europe would want to sign him because he's that good, as well. And look, if there's any slip ups with Bayern Munich with money, then look, hopefully Liverpool act upon it, and try and convince him to join Liverpool, really, because look, if he has those doubts, if his team has doubts about him joining Bayern Munich, then I hope Liverpool go all in for him. I really, really do anyway. But big up Ozan as well, saying I'm not believing this hype con as well. Then they're just using Liverpool FC's name to get more money from Bayern as well. Well, I don't think you can get more money than 150 million euros, which, again, that's the rumored price for Bayern Munich. There's different prices being spoken about for obviously clubs outside Germany, as well. And look, I hope Bayer Leverkusen stick to their guards. Not only just for Liverpool potentially signing him, but I hope that they stick by that 150 million pound or 150 million euros for Bayern Munich, because as it's been reported in Germany, Leverkusen do not want to upgrade Bayern Munich even more, because if you think about it, if Bayern Munich end up signing him, they then have Elise, Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, and Harry Kane. Like, that front four alone is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And I look at it and go, for me personally, I think Liverpool, if there's a 1% chance, should go all in for it. Absolutely. But look, I hope that they do get the most amount of money for him, if of course Liverpool don't end up getting him either. But if this is true, just pay the big bucks for Isak. I think a lot of people have had that same thought, Cal, as well. If Florian Wirtz is available for 120 million or 100 million, why don't Liverpool try and test Newcastle's resolvement, really? And I think it's because, again, I just don't think Isak's going anywhere. I think Liverpool could bid 150 million this summer, and I don't think they would accept it. And look, I would love if Liverpool just went all in and got Alexander Isak, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately, which is a shame. It is a shame, but again, could Liverpool, sign somebody big now this summer, like a Florian Wirtz, and then next summer, going for an Alexander Isak? Of course, that's a possibility. But again, football's very strange. There might be a player, a new player in the next year. Everyone's like, oh, we should sign him. We should sign that. Like, again, that's the world of football. It's very quick in that sense. And I look at it and go, we have to make a big signing, I think, this summer. Whether that's striker or whether or not we do end up getting Florian Wirtz, I do think we have to act very, very big in the market, I would say. Of course, obviously, Frimpong news, obviously, over the last couple of days has been the main talking point, but I also think it's also other positions like Kirkes, for example, and in the midfield. I think Liverpool need to make big moves really in that kind. And of course, that doesn't mean spending big, but of course, it's showing intent really, in trying to maintain the lead at the top of the Premier League table as well. But I'll pick up Brentford Billion as well, saying Newcastle won't sell Isak. There is no big news on him moving either. Yeah, no, he won't leave, unfortunately. But Casas, they want Jonathan David, so I don't know. They might as well. I think Jonathan David might be a backup, to be fair, at Newcastle. They are looking at backups for Alexander Isak because I think they're going to sell Callum Wilson, aren't they? So at the moment, there's nothing really new on that either. But look, I do think it will be a very interesting one to kind of understand where Liverpool are as well in terms of the money side of things and other bits and pieces, of course. Anyway, but I'm just trying to see if I've missed anything in terms of Florian Wirtz, because again, straight away when when the David Ornstein news broke, straight away Sky Sports were or Sky Sports in this country, I would say, was trying to straight away turn it down. Like I think is it the Sky Sports #1 reporter, claiming that Liverpool are not working on a deal, and Sky Sports straight away are like, oh, no, Liverpool are definitely not doing anything in that regard anyway. But even Christian Falk, I'll get Christian Falk's posts up now as he says by here. Anyway, so let me quickly get up his tweets as well. No, I don't want to leave this site. Go away. But as it does go on to say, but there, as you guys can hopefully see on screen, there we go. As I said, there was also a meeting with Liverpool FC for Florian Wirtz, 22, on Tuesday in England. Also, Man City negotiate with the family of Wirtz's father. Hans is also his agent, but the bosses of FC Bayern are sure that the player will keep his promise to move to Munich, of course, as well. Now, obviously, he does go on to say a bit more as well. But I do look at it now. I would say he's going to go to Bayern Munich. I do think he will go to Bayern Munich as well. Anyway, but look, we'll have to wait and see, really. But I think obviously the main one is the fact that if there are links there, of course, if there's hope there, Liverpool do a move really, and I hope Liverpool do get a move done for him. Again, I'd love it if Liverpool could do a deal for Florian Wirtz as well. But look, hopefully we will hear more news. Hopefully in the next couple of hours, of course. But any other bits of news, of course, does break out, we'll be live for it anyway. We are going to be live tonight, again, at 9 p.m, so make sure you do come back. We're going to talk, of course, more about Florian Wirtz. We're also going to discuss more to do with Huijsen and Frimpong and all the other news anyway, and obviously the latest news anyway. But obviously the main news on Florian Wirtz is the fact that Liverpool have made contact with his representatives, and by the looks of it, though, he is going to stay at Bayern Munich. He's going to stay in Germany. This is the expectation by Liverpool. It's been confirmed by the Liverpool journals like Paul Joyce and Lewis Steele as well. So I think if there is a possibility that Bayern Munich don't end up getting him, and he does decide to leave Leverkusen, then I think Liverpool will go all in for him, and they will be the team to do it. But again, if there is a possibility of him leaving to leave to another team, of course, Manchester City will be looking at it as well as a Kevin De Bruyne replacement as well. So look, there is plenty of more elements and twists and turns, I think, in this Florian Wirtz story. Of course, obviously, I think obviously everyone expects him to go to Bayern Munich, but let's just hope maybe there's one more twist and turn in the story, and that hopefully benefits Liverpool as well anyway. But look, I am going to leave it there for now, guys. A big thank you for everyone for tuning in to, of course, the breaking news show of course, Liverpool making contact for Florian Wirtz. Like I said, we'll be back at 9 p.m. as well, talking more about Wirtz. We're going to talk about Frimpong. We're going to talk about, of course, more things as well. Obviously, other right backs has been linked as well, and other bits and pieces as well. Because I know obviously a couple of you guys have asked about Chiesa and so on as well. So we'll talk about that a bit later on in another episode anyway. But until next time, guys, that is going to be it from me anyway. I've been Connor from the COP Council. I'll see you guys a bit later on. Ta-ra.